we'll get into the context. So there's a really great software company that has a screen that looks a bit like this. Except they use way too small fonts, so I made it bigger. This is pretty typical. This is a very, very typical set of data. So this is, you've got customer revenue on this axis, net margin here, and it's all over the map, right? So the question is this good or not? Well, you can't tell, right? It's suspicious. It's always suspicious when you've got a big spread of margins with small customers, and that's often what you see. You see this sort of funnel-shaped thing. But you can't tell. So it really depends on what is the company trying to optimize, right? So what kind? Let's just do quick shout-outs, and I'll just shout out stuff. What kind of stuff do companies want to optimize? Profit, yes.
Target price for the sales.
Target price, okay. Market share. Quantity, yeah. Volume. Cost, yeah. Retention, yeah, sorry. Plant utilization, yeah, which kind of gets the cost as well, yeah. Customer satisfaction, yeah, great, good. So that's great stuff, right? So this is a set of things. Some of the market, so the market size, you can't tend to affect that, right? But the market size is a factor. Market share and volume, price, obviously. Sales mix is an interesting one, right? Nobody said that, but if you can sell, you'd rather sell high margin products than low margin products. So Apple would rather have you buy an iPhone 10 than buy an iPhone 6, because they make, I'm pretty sure, make more money on the iPhone 10 than they do on an iPhone 6. Yeah, and then on the bottom side, you've got cost things. So they want to manage costs. We talked about that. You can break that into raw material, production costs. The cost of selling stuff, R&D spend, overhead spend. Things like retention are sort of buried into volume, right? Volume over time. These can be grouped down into market factors, sales, cost of sales, overhead, which go into revenue and cost, which gets you to profit. So at the end of the day, except for a few weird cases, public companies are trying to maximize their profit, right? Their long run, absolute size of their profit. And these are the things that we Pricefx can help them with, right? So it's around market share, volume, price, and mix. Hopefully we can help them sell more at a higher price with a richer mix that drives revenue, and then maybe a little bit of efficiency around the marketing and selling. But sometimes you will get people who say they're doing a pricing software project because to save money, right? Have you come across that? Efficiency reasons? We spend too much time. Yeah, but at the end of the day, the real money is in getting the price right, and sometimes getting the price right so you sell more and you have a better sales mix. Okay, and that's where the 10% increase comes from. So the impact you can get out of pricing is 2 to 5 points of revenue. So that is huge. There's nothing else going to get you that without starting a new product line or something like that. And pricing software in large companies which have complex problems is necessary. You cannot do some of these things with Excel. And if you can do it with Excel, you probably shouldn't be automating it. Right? There may be exceptions to that, but that's generally the case. So one of the things some of you will find, or certainly I've found over the last 15 years, is people complain about the things that keep them in the office after 6 o'clock at night, but the value is in stuff they don't even know the value of the pricing, because when you don't get a price difference, you don't know it. I always remember being in the US and going to Macy's, and I'd pick out a shirt, let's say this one, it's not, and the price is $29, and then I get to the counter and it's $19 because it's on sale. I was going to buy it at $29. That's $10 of money that's lost. I'm the only person that knows that, right? So that's one of the challenges we have, is that when you don't get the pricing you expect, people don't know it. So yeah, so we started this about what are we trying to do, right? So what are the goals and context? What are people trying to do with pricing? What's the context that companies are operating in when they're doing pricing? So there's a set of internal drivers. So there's what are they trying to do strategically, and what are their goals? and what do they sell, right? If you're Uber, it's clear that you don't sell pastries. Well, actually, I guess you do with Uber Eats. Maybe you do. But what are they selling? And then there's the market drivers. So what does the market look like, and what segments are they selling into, and what's the competition doing? And all these things affect then the pricing practices. So I would say you want to have, unless you're doing a very tactical thing, you want to have a bit of an understanding of the context of a company so you can understand their pricing problem and get to how to solve it. One of the things I've also seen with pricing software is that people will tell you how they want you to solve the problem, but sometimes they tell you something that doesn't actually make sense. And if you have a bigger context, you can say, okay, well, that's fine. That would be one way to do it, but a better way would be to do it this other way, and then you get into the nub of what the problem is they're trying to solve. So the more you can understand the problem they're trying to solve and why they're saying they need this thing, the better off you are. And then in pricing, you've got, I break it down into, this is no rocket science, analytics and insights, and then a bit around, which sort of gives you the baseline, and then setting list prices and target prices, managing discounts and rebates, so that's called incentives, and then execution, which is what you were saying earlier about getting these things to happen day in, day out without lots of friction and inefficiency. So obviously Price Analyzer fits in the analysis bucket. That's not too surprising. I think Price Optimizer and Price Builder fit more in the figuring out what the target should be and what the list price is and setting the list price. Is that fair? Price Builder, I think, has a little bit broader use than that, is my understanding. Yeah. Promotion Manager gets into incentives management. And then Rebate Manager, you could argue, is the twin of this thing, right? But it's more, I think of Rebate Manager as more an execution tool, and Quote Configurator is definitely when you get into execution, because that's when we're managing. And so when you're executing, you want to make sure you're using the right information that these decisions were based on, and then capturing the exceptions and managing them as exceptions. Always, I'm sure you do this, always building in exceptions into how the systems work is really important.